Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Representative Huizenga.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you for your work on this hearing. You and I have been spending a fair amount of time in conversations, both in and out of SCIFs surrounding all of this. And I also want to just say to the fine folks at BIS, I appreciate this rule and the step towards that. But we all know, one, the devil's in the details, and two, rules and regulations are only as good as your willingness to enforce them. And that is what we're going to be watching for on this. So I'm going to start. Obviously, we've got some crown jewels here in artificial intelligence with Colossus 1 and 2 data centers, thanks to Elon Musk, which together host more than 1 million H100 equivalent AI chips. Data centers like this underpin, I believe, America's advantage in AI versus the Chinese Communist Party and their capabilities. So, Mr. Cass, let's say China had its own equivalent of Colossus 1 and 2. What kind of military intelligence and economic capabilities could that unlock?
I think it's important to distinguish between two steps. There's both a question of to what extent can they train better and more powerful models, and then what capacity do they have to actually be running the models. And so certainly to the extent that they have more of the most advanced chips, can build a cluster more like Colossus, they're in a better position to train a more powerful model. The second problem...
the 2 million number was thrown out by Mr. Pottinger earlier, and whether that's actually at 100% accurate or not, we know that any significant number of those types of chips could bring this type of capability, correct, and basically create the ecosystem.
That would be a step change for China to have access to that many advanced chips.
Yes, and just to then emphasize one additional point, and this goes to the Congressman's question about how far behind China is. At the end of the day, the rate that you can deploy AI, whether for defense or in your economy, comes down to the total amount of computational power that you have. And so I think a best way to think about whether we are ahead or not is what share of that most advanced computational power do we have. We were roughly at parity with China before we imposed all these export controls. We now have a 5x advantage. To Mr. Pottinger's point, we should be trying to drive that higher, not saying it's okay for it to come down.
I mean, not everybody agrees. Right? I mean, there are some people that are arguing the most effective way to kneecap Huawei's growth in semiconductor manufacturing, and by extension China, is to take market share. I think that was getting talked about a little while ago. They believe that mass sale of AI chips will then basically allow us to front run. It's been a while since I've read Sun Tzu's Art of War, but I kind of remember a few concepts of this about how you're going to suck your enemy in before you then do an end around on them. And it seems to me that two things can be true. They may need advanced chips currently, and they also may still strive to develop their own indigenous chip systems. So it seems to me that some people are arguing, well, yeah, but if we just sell these to them, then it's just going to drop off, and it's not going to happen. Now, there's been some, and I think it was Mr. Cass who had suggested maybe Xi Jinping may not allow this, or whoever the decision makers are. We know it's pretty much him. So what happens if Xi decides not to block Chinese AI labs from purchasing H200? What if he does decide, does that mean America should be selling these H200s or even more advanced chips to China to sort of entice them in?
Yeah, absolutely not. And you're right. Xi Jinping has made clear, and it's cascading through his system, the message is Chinese companies can buy a certain number. It's not clear how many they're going to permit them to buy of these H200s, but they'll be required to continue buying inferior Huawei chips so that Huawei can catch up and eventually basically push NVIDIA completely out of the market. So it's a total fairy tale to think that this is a way to addict China to our technology. We've seen it over and over and over again.
Okay, in my closing moments here, I think Mr. Perry had talked about and asked about testing equipment. I would note that I have a bill, the Semiconductor Technology Resilience, Integrity, and Defense Enhancement Act, STRIDE Act, which would require our allies to adhere to our own export controls, and I guess the question is, should the United States use foreign direct product rule to end foreign backfilling? What we're seeing is some of our allies are allowing that backfilling to go in and do repairs and enhancements and those kinds of things.
We should, if necessary. Our goal should be to reach a good agreement that everybody holds hands on and wants to work together on, but we certainly have that stick available, and it should be part of our strategy if we need it.
And I know, Mr. Chairman, my time, he just gave me the wink like you're done. So, but I do appreciate the extension there, and this is extremely important, and I appreciate everybody's time and attention. Thank you.
Representative Kamlagerdev.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.